Okay, so now we're getting on and we're going to conversions between units of volumes, right? So this is the important part for questions that you need to know how to do. Okay, the general rule when working with any conversion is that when you're converting from a big unit to a smaller unit, you have to multiply, right? And then we'll see what's the conversion factor now. And when you're going from a small unit to a bigger unit, we have to divide. Okay, so let's see what they mean by that, right? So here's a conversion diagram, and if you learn this off by heart, then it's very simple. You can just draw this diagram for yourself whenever you see these questions, and then it will help you to answer these questions, right? So we're going from big to small. So we're saying we want to move from a kiloliter. Remember we said in the previous page that it's the biggest measurement, to a liter to milliliter. So we're moving in this direction here from a kiloliter to a liter to a milliliter. So what we are doing is we're going from big to small, and we're going from a big unit down to a smaller unit. Sorry, we are here on the top, so we have to multiply. Okay, so from 1 kiloliter, if I want to get to 1 liter, I would have to say, if I'm using an example of 1 kiloliter multiplied by 1000 would give me 1000 liters, right? So if I want to change from liters to milliliters, 1 liter, if I'm multiplying it by 1000, I would get 1000 milliliters. So I'm going from big to smaller, I'm multiplying, right? So now if I want to get from kiloliters to milliliters, it means I have to do 2 jumps. So if I want to know how many milliliters in 1 liter, I would say 1 liter times 1000 would give me 1000 liters, times another 1000 would give me how many? Would give me 6 zeros, so it's 1 million milliliters, right? So then we're going from big to small. So now, okay, so now we're moving from milliliters to liters to kiloliters. So what we're doing now is we're going in the other direction, right? So your diagram is showing you now that if you're starting from milliliters, how do I get to kiloliters? So if I have 1000 mils and I want to know how many liters do I have, I'm going to divide it by 1000 and I'm going to come to 1 liter. And then if I'm going to take 1000, if I have 1 liter, right, like this example, I have to divide it by 1000. So I'm going to get 0,001 kiloliters, right? So I'm going in this direction here, and we'll use it to do the examples, then it can become easier for you, right? So we're moving from mils to liters to kiloliters. So we're going by we're going from small to big here at the bottom. So what we have to do is we have to divide. So you have to know that the conversion factor that they're talking about here is 1000. So when you're going from big to smaller, we're multiplying by 1000. And when you're going from small to big, we're dividing by 1000, right? So here's a conversion table. From kiloliters to liters, you're going to multiply by 1000. From milliliters to liters, you're going to divide by 1000. From liters to milliliters, you're going to multiply by 1000. And from liters to kiloliters, you're going to divide by 1000. It's the same thing there, right? Interesting fact is that a teaspoon is 5 mils and a sachet of milk is 1 liter, right? So let's work through the examples that they've given us here. Okay, so this first example says, if a recipe requires 1.3 liters of milk. So here's the first part of the question. They've given us 1.3 liters of milk. How many milliliters of milk is this, right? So now look where I am in my table. I'm at liters and I want to get to milliliters. So how am I going to convert from liters to milliliters? I'm going in this direction here. So all I need to do is I need to take 1.3 liters. I'm going to multiply it by 1000 on my calculator, and I'm going to get 1300 mils, right? So if you learn this off by heart, then it becomes easy, or if you remember later on, then that's also much better. If a jug holds 630 mils of cold drink, how many liters is that? So here's my question. My conversion is telling me to work from 630 mils to liters. So where am I? I am here. I've got 630 mils of cold drink, and I want to know now from mils, how do I get to liters? So what am I going to do? I'm going to divide by 1000. So I'm going to take 630 mils and I'm going to divide it by 1000 on my calculator. I get 0.63 liters. So these are equals to each other, right? So what we're doing is we're converting them, but 1.3 liters is the same thing as that, and 0.63 liters is the same thing like that. Whether you go this way or that way, it's equivalent amount of measurement, right? If a swimming pool holds 2.7 kiloliters of water, how many milliliters does it contain? So where are we now? We're at kiloliters, right? That's my first part of my question, and then it wants me to convert it to milliliters. So I'm at kiloliters, but look, I need to do 2 jumps to get to milliliters. So what am I going to do? First, convert the kiloliters to liters. So from liters to liters, I'm going to multiply by 1000. So I've taken 2.7 multiplied by 1000. I get 2700 liters, right? Then I'm converting from liters to milliliters. So I have to take 2700 again and multiply by 1000 there. So I get 2.7 million milliliters, right? How many kiloliters is 9,200 mils? So look at your question where you are, 9,200 mils, and where do I need to go back to? I need to go back to kiloliters, so I need to divide 2 times by 1000. So first we're going from mils to liters. So 9,200 divided by 1000 would give me 9.2 liters. Then 9.2 liters divided by another 1000 would give me 0.092 kiloliters. Okay, so if you get good at the conversions, these questions are quite easy and you could get quite high marks in this, right? So look at this here. This is telling us conversions when we're baking. Okay, so conversions when you're baking, the following conversions will be given when questions relating to baking or cooking are asked. You do not have to memorize these conversions. So what they mean is that when they give you a question on this, they will give you a table like this describing your conversions, so you don't have to remember it. But if you are working in the kitchen, it's nice to know, so you remember when you're converting in a recipe, right? So 1 cup is always equals to 250 mils. So if you measure 250 mils in a measuring jug, you know you've got 1 cup. 1 tablespoon would be 15 mils and 1 teaspoon would be 5 mils. So this one normally we use for medicine. So if they tell you give the child 1 teaspoon of Panado or 5 mils of Panado, then you know you're going to take a teaspoon and you're going to fill it with 5 mils and you give the child 5 mils of Panado. So now what I want you to also go through that video where they show you all these things here, and then you'll have a practical way of understanding that. Okay, let's go through this example here where it's a little bit more application, right? So this one says determine the total volume of liquid in a bucket in liters if I add 550 mils of bleach and 0.026 kiloliters of water. Now the first thing that needs to go through your mind when you see something like this here, we've got 2 amounts, right? Okay, so you want to fill 2 things into your bucket, right? You're filling 550 mils of bleach and then you're filling 0.026 kiloliters of water. You can't do a question like that until you've converted either one of those into mils. Either you're going to change this to mils and then you're going to add them together, or you're going to change that to kiloliters and then you're going to add it together. So it doesn't matter which one you use, but to do a question with different units, you have to change it to be the same unit. You can't do any question with different units. Can you see here we've got milliliters and we've got kiloliters. We have to change it to the same unit, right? So let's see how they've done it here. 550 mils, they've changed it to 0.55 liters. So they divided it by 1000 from the conversion table and they made it into 0.55 liters, right? Okay, so your question is telling you here now that you need to answer in liters, right? So 0.026 kiloliters, how are we going to change it to liters? We're going to multiply that by 1000, so we end up by 26 liters. Then your total volume will be your 0.55 liters and your 26 liters 26.55 liters. So it's very important to read the question, and if they specify, then you have to answer it in liters. If they didn't specify, you can convert one of them to the moles to kiloliters and then add them up together and give the answer like that, right? Which juice is cheaper per milliliter? So yummy juice costs 14 Rand 25 per liter, and better juice costs 7.99 per 500 ml. Now what is it telling you in the question here? To compare two things which have different units. You can't compare it. You need to change them. So the yummy juice is 14 Rand 25 per liter. So they're changing it to see how much is it per mil, right? So they're dividing it by 1,000. So they divided 14 Rand 25 by 1,000. So they said it's 0.01 rands per mil. So what they've done here is they've just rounded this figure off here. Because it's so many decimals, they've rounded it off to money. So you need only 2 decimal points, 0.01 rands per mil, right? So they took the original value and they divided it by 1,000 because we want to move from liters. You're moving from liters to milliliters, so you're going to divide by 1,000. Okay, you're going from a bigger one to a smaller one, so you want to divide by 1,000. So that's why they've divided the rands by 1,000, and then they've come to milliliters to milliliters, and then they've changed that by dividing it by 1,000 to 0.01. Now the better juice is 7.99 Rand for 500 ml. So what they've done now is taken 7.99 and divided it by 500 ml. So they're trying to get a price per ml. Okay, so this one here, you didn't have to convert it, but they just divided the rand value by the mls. So it comes to 0.02 rands per ml. So can you see now we've come to a stage now where we can compare the two amounts, right? So in this step here, all they did is they took the rand value and they divided it by the 500 ml to see how much is it per ml, right? So we have a value per ml there and a value per ml there, and you can see that yummy juice is cheaper. Okay, so okay, let's go through this question here. It's also got to do with ratios, so we can have a bit of a revision there, and that's the last one that we can go through for volumes, and then we can work through the other questions, right? There's a great product that gets rid of summer flies by spraying it on the lawn. It comes in a concentrate form and has to be mixed with water in the ratio 1:9 concentrate to water, right? So you have to put 1 part of concentrate and 9 parts of water. Okay, so what it means is if you have 1 bucket of concentrate, you will need 9 buckets of water. What volume of a 500 ml mixture will be made up of concentrate, and what volume would be made up of water, right? Okay, so what it's telling you here now is you've got 1 part and 9 parts, which make it 10 parts all together. So the concentrate is 1/10 and the water becomes 9/10. If you remember, we did this in ratios. You add them both together, you're getting 10 parts. So then the concentrate, and you're reading your question in order. So the first number would represent the concentrate, which is here. So the concentrate would become 1/10, and you're multiplying it by the 500 ml to get 50 ml. And then the water part of it would be the 9/10. So you're taking 9/10, multiplying it by the 500 ml, and you're getting 450 ml. The question was telling you what volume of a 500 ml mixture will be made up of concentrate and which part would be made up of water. So you've divided your ratio into 1/10 and 9/10, and you're multiplying it by your value to work out that 50 ml will be concentrate and 450 ml would be water. So if you want to write it as a ratio, it would become 50 to 450.